Hello, welcome Essex County College family. This is the Virtual Cafe powered by Student Life and Activities. Today's episode number 85 is our club showcase with our LGBTQ plus club here on campus at Essex County College. Very important club, very cool club. A lot of members from other clubs intermingled into this one, culminating in something truly amazing, awesome, and we love the LGBTQ club at Essex County College. We thought there needs to be a showcase on this club and the activities and the space that it provides to students in the community at the college. And we want to make sure that it has as much awareness as possible so that students feel comfortable to reach out, join the club, go to meetings, join events, all that good stuff. So we're bringing the club to you today. Feel free to meet them, talk to them, ask some questions. I'm going to do a short interview with some of the members. And then if you have any questions, we will save that for the end. So it is my pleasure to present the LGBTQ plus club of Essex County College here with us today at Virtual Cafe. Let's get them on the screen. Okay, here we are. This is some members from the LGBTQ plus club on campus. We have with us club president Ugonma Chima. Hey, Chi-Chi, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Mr. Odd?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. That's got to be the first time anyone's asked. Thanks. I'm just kidding. Okay. Also with us from the LGBTQ plus club is the club vice president, Angel Ortega. Angel, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm kind of going for life each step at a time.
Okay, cool. That's a good way to do it. Definitely. I do that same thing. And also with us today from the LGBTQ plus club is Adrielle Worrell. Adrielle, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank all of you ladies for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Now, we've done club showcases in the past, Bio Pre-Med Club and Phi Theta Kappa, and the gamers and whatnot. All those clubs kind of are awesome. Not kind of awesome. They're awesome, but they kind of have their niched purpose that they do. Phi Theta Kappa is strictly academics and getting scholarships at the students and opportunities, which is really important. Bio Pre-Med is for Bio Pre-Med students, pretty much only exclusively. The gamers for socializing, gaming, bringing folks together. LGBTQ plus, a little bit different because it is social. Yeah, you all meet, you have a good time, but it's also very, very important to students' development that are in the LGBTQ plus community. It's important to them that they have a space and a community to turn to on campus, aside from the greater LGBTQ community, a smaller, microcosm of that community here on campus. It's important for students to have that safe space, that support group, that group of like-minded individuals who understand them and want to help and want to better them and get them opportunities and help them become aware of things that may not be already. So today's showcase, I'm very happy to do because this club really deserves it. And they got a lot of awesome students involved in this club that really care. And it's important in a club. A lot of people come to Essex, point A to point B, point C, and that is not the case with this club. So I want to make sure that we get all that out there today and let Essex County College students know that this is a space for you if you're looking for it. So we have club president, Chi-Chi. You're in the LGBTQIA Safe Zone Lounge, correct, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, and is this where your club meets?
Yes, it is where we meet. We meet here every Friday. We're having a little technical difficulty issue. We meet every Friday from 2:30 to 3:30, or until whenever y'all kick us out.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
See, and that's another cool perk about this club is that you all have a set meeting from 2:30 to 3:30, but it never really ends. You guys just kind of go until we kick you out or until someone has to leave or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Angel, how did you come across the LGBTQ plus club? Did you meet Chi at a club fair? Did you see a flyer somewhere? How did you come across the club?
So actually, I met Chi Chi through the drama club in which I am in as well. As long as my fellow speakers on today too. I met her there. At first, I wasn't really attending any meetings just because on Fridays I usually am busy and all of that. But the way that Chi Chi like told me what her club was, how like it was like a place where you could be yourself, be truly, and be free. It just motivated me to go into the club and all that. And then that's where she came and approached me as being vice president because she liked the ideas that I was giving during drama club, and she just wanted us to be together and show each other imagination, image of what we want the club to be for the future.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, my next question was going to be, how did you become vice president? Okay, so Chi Chi appointed you. You must have some awesome ideas if you became vice president. That's awesome. All right, cool. Oh, you're me.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Technical difficulty. Yeah. We're trying to do a lot of stuff in the future wise. Yes, because our club is starting really small, but we're progressing in how we're gonna do everything in the future wise. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. All right, Adrielle, same question for you. How did you come to be involved with the LGBTQ plus club? Did you meet Chi Chi somewhere, or did you come to a club meeting, or you saw a flyer? How did you get in the group?
Well, I met Chi Chi at an event here for a gaming club, and she came up to me and we started talking, and then she was like, "Hey, you should be in LGBTQI club," and I was like, "Okay, when do you guys meet?" And she said on Fridays, and I get out the earliest on Fridays. I get out at like 9:50, so I was like, "Okay, why not?" And I came and I met everybody, and they were all welcoming. They were nice. We all got to know each other. We said our names and stuff. And then I was like, "This is cool." And then I kept coming.
Hey, fair enough. That's awesome. And like I'm hearing from all of you, you're all are involved in other clubs, and it kind of comes together in LGBTQ plus, and that's awesome. That means that a lot of you like to be with other students on campus. You like to spread the good word about all the awesome stuff that you all are doing. In the process, you're saying, "Man, I was promoting the drama club, but here I am. I joined another club today because it was just awesome, and I get along with those folks." So that's great. I love to see that. All right, let's get some factoids out in the open there for people who may watch this and say, "I don't know anything about LGBTQ plus." So even me, when I say I'm saying LGBTQ plus because that was like the first acronym. I was in high school in the 2000s, so it was just LGBT back then. Then slowly the Q came, and now it's a whole litany of letters there. So Chi Chi, can you go over with us? I know it's LGBTQIA2S, and I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just dumb. So tell me, what is it? What is the acronym? What do all the letters stand for?
So I was struggling to unmute. So basically, the LGBT, like you were saying, in the 2000s, people usually referred to it just as that, but as the community became more broad and people developed more language to describe how they felt about their relationships, how they felt about their gender identities, and all of these different things, it started to expand and extend. LGBT just stands for lesbian, bisexual, gay, and transgender. Q, the Qs can stand for two things. It can stand for questioning or just queer. And I feel like questioning is just questioning individuals, being viewed as part of the community too, because a lot of people are just trying to figure things out. I'm still trying to figure things out and I'm just, doing it as I go. And queer is more so an umbrella term for everyone in the community. And the plus, so many things. You mentioned like 2S, that could mean two-spirited people, asexual people, demisexual people, pansexual people, non-binary people. And the list is so extensive because there's so many different ways that people identify themselves.
What is two-spirited? I gotta ask. I'm unknowledgeable on that.
Okay, it comes from Native American culture, and it's this whole idea of one person who is both embodying like a feminine and a masculine spirit in one. So it's specific to Native American culture though. So that's usually the people who will use that term to define themselves. It also has a lot of like a heavy spiritual meaning in that culture specifically. Yeah.
That's actually really cool. That came out of left field. I didn't know there was going to be a cultural tie into that. So that's Native American exclusive. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Angel, question for you. It's a different question. I want to mix it up a little bit. Okay. So I'm sorry if it's a hard one. I'm not trying to make hard questions, but it's all improv. Okay. So I noticed some folks have the pronouns next to their names in the Zoom room, right? So help people that are my age and older, because it'll be people older than me that don't understand this as much. How can folks who constantly call people, hey guys, or hey, you know, like I will call an entire group of women guys. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even trying to offend anybody or anything like that. It's just ingrained, like it's part of like our language about how we talk to groups of people and stuff like that. So Angel, what would be a good way for folks to address people in the LGBTQ plus community without like what I'm asking for me essentially? How can I say that? How can I get that sentiment across? Like I want to say, hey, you all, without like sounding so vanilla. How can I get out of that habit of constantly calling people guys or hey, you know what I'm saying? Your thoughts?
So for me, whenever I ever introduce myself, I will introduce my pronouns so people can know. So I'll be, hi, my name is Angel. My pronouns are she and her. So that's how I would pronounce myself. And then if somebody I feel comfortable, because there are people who don't feel comfortable sharing their pronouns, I'm like, if you don't mind, is there a way you want me to call you by your first name, a nickname, or do you prefer anything? Yes, at first it is kind of confusing, especially my parents, they are older minded. So when I first let them know what pronouns are, they had a huge confusion and all that. But I just let them know it's okay to ask. Just make sure you ask in the nicest, not a nice way, but not in a way that you would offend somebody. So I would ask nicely. If people don't want to tell me, I'm like, okay, I'll just ask people and talk to them as their name. I'd be like, oh, hi Chi, how are you doing today? Rather than, oh, hey girl, how are you doing today? So I will talk to somebody with their using their name if they don't want to be using none of their pronouns at the moment. If I don't know the pronouns as well.
Got you. Thank you. Adrielle, do you ever have that issue where you may, like I constantly say to folks, like, oh, thanks, man. Never. And then I think about it afterward and I'm just like, oh, man, I shouldn't always assume that. I shouldn't always say like, thanks, man, because even though I don't mean any harm, that person doesn't know that. And they might think that I'm being a jerk when I'm not trying to be. Do you ever see situations like that? And when you see a situation like that, will you help correct somebody, or is it more like how do we approach things like that it's socially, so my question to you is, when you see this happen, are you ever like, hey, you should check in with them, or like, you tell me?
Well, when I see situations like that, it kind of depends on who the person is, and if I know that they're personally bothered by that, then I would like come out of my mouth to say like, hey, they don't like that pronoun. Can you please respect their pronouns? That makes them uncomfortable. As for me, if I was to make a mistake, I would like immediately apologize, or I would like correct myself, like, oh, I'm not sure what your pronouns are, but hey, everybody here, or I would say their names, like Angel said. But I don't really have a lot of problems like that. I feel as if people should find genderless ways to encounter everybody. So like saying hey y'all or hey guy, not guys, but like not making the mistake now.
Like,
But yeah, like folks, something that's like not so gender constructed, you know? So,
I love it. Yeah, y'all. That's a great one. I gotta always remember y'all. Folks is good too, but that's something that people even older than me say all the time. Like, hey, folks, all right, we gotta round everybody up now. We're going on the field trip. All right, let's get serious. Chi, let's talk LGBTQ icon. Even if I've asked you this question already in the hallway or in a previous interview. Now, this question is for all of you. So Adrielle and Angel have a little bit longer to think about this. You got about 5 seconds. Who
Okay.
is your icon, your person that you look to and say, hey, this person overcame the adversity. This person dealt with people judging them for however long, and now they're in power. Now they have power. Now people see them as an artist or as a musician or whatever they do, and not a sexual being all the time. Because it seems like a lot of people are focused on sexuality and your sexual being. That seems to be the most important thing to some people, and that defines who you are. But we know that's not exactly the case. So who's your icon?
Oh my gosh. I'm here with Adrielle, and the first person I thought about, she was like, don't say blank, because that's clearly gonna be her answer. So dang, that's such a good question. I wish I had so much more time. I would say the second person that came to mind, like, because I keep thinking about like musical artists. I feel like Lil Nas, even though people definitely box him into his sexuality and make his, career very much so about his sexuality, I think the way that he came out and the way that all of that went down after he made it to the top, like his song was number 1 for weeks. People were bumping that all over the place, and it was just a worldwide hit. And all that success came with people, even after he came out, like for people to try to deny that he's talented would be insane. And I think the fact that he's pushing so many boundaries, especially in like with hip hop music, he's pushing so many boundaries that usually like cis Black men don't really push. I just think it's so inspiring, and like a lot of people really like to conflate his art to his queerness, and I feel like of course it reflects in his art because that's a part of his identity, but still down to the bone he's an amazing artist. That's it, period.
Not arguing with you there. Angel, who is your LGBTQ plus icon? Your icon, who is it?
All right. You guys said Blaine, right? You want to say Blaine, Adrielle? Am I knowing which Blaine you're talking about though? Because
what's her name start with?
wait, is yours Blaine? His name is not Blaine though in real life.
No.
No.
Okay.
It's
So
not.
for me, at first I didn't know he was actually not gay in real life. His name in the TV show it's Glee, Blaine. His name is Darren Harris or Darren Chris. Might say wrong. But just in the show, yes, stereotypes people how they see somebody as a gay person, but the way that he made it like you shouldn't be afraid to be who you are in the show, and it was a show where it was kind of at first like really hard to actually like produce a show that says that yes I am openly gay and yes I'm using this, but the way that they like showed who he was as a character, he was confident, he was brave, he didn't care what anybody thought. And when I came out as myself to like the people around me, I just had that mindset said, oh, like I'm brave, I know I can be myself, and if somebody does have something to say about that, I just wipe it off and just continue who I want to be. So that's how I portrayed him at first.
That's really cool. Awesome. Right? Adrielle, same question for you. Who is your gay icon? Who is someone you look to for support and inspiration in the community?
I'm gonna say Kaylani, and I would say her because she's somebody that who isn't afraid to change her label, because she's went from bi to being what was it, to being lesbian, and she wasn't like afraid to like come out and be able to change. And I've personally struggled with that, like, oh, what is everybody gonna think? Are they gonna think that I'm unsure now because I've changed my label? So I really look up to her for that, and how she's unapologetically her, and how she expresses herself through her music, and how she dresses, and how she doesn't really care what other people have to think. So that makes me feel like I should be okay, and I can express myself and my sexuality however I like, whatever's comfortable for me. So I really look up to her for that.
Awesome. I love David Rose, aka Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek. I think that show is one of the biggest allies to LGBTQ plus in general. But my personal LGBTQ plus icon has passed away. His name is Freddie Mercury. He was the singer for a band called Queen. And what I think is really interesting about Freddie Mercury was that he was the lead singer of this unbelievable operatic heavy rock band. They made some of the biggest anthems of all time, right? You think about We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, played at almost every single sports game, doesn't even matter what the sport is. And you have all these, meatheads all around, we will rock you, we will rock you. And they like the irony that the song is written by a gay man when it was not acceptable to be that way at all, and couldn't even talk about it back then. And he's no longer with us, but if he was today, he'd be really proud of a lot of the things that go on in the name of LGBTQ. And stemming into my next question, let's talk a little bit about culture and sexuality, right? Because not everybody's cultures are open arms waiting to hug you and hold you. Oh, that's great. You've come out. Oh, that's wonderful. We're here to support you. It's not always like that. And we have this showcase today. I'm happy that we're doing it. At the same time, I also say to myself, man, I can't believe we have to do this. I can't believe that you guys have to have a club to create a safe space for LGBTQ plus people, because it should never have been like that. It should always have been accepted. It should have always been a thing that was not a thing. We shouldn't have to draw awareness to it. People coming out the womb should be taught that this is natural. This is normal, whatever normal is, because I don't think any of us are normal. Anybody that works or goes to school here is normal. Sorry. But yeah, it should have been something, a given. It should have been a default, a standard, right? But it's not. And you guys had to fight for it. That's horrible that people have to fight to have their sexuality accepted by the masses. For what? I'll never understand it. I'm glad we're at the place we're at now. It sucks that it took a long time to get here. But culture and sexuality, we're going to go in. This question is for everybody. We'll start with Chi-Chi and come down to Adrielle. Again, putting Chi-Chi on the spot. Give her minimal time to think about any of these answers here, okay? In your culture, Chi-Chi, you don't have to dive into your personal life too much. You can talk broadly about your culture, Is being a member of the LGBTQ plus community something that you've found mass acceptance with, or is it something that you receive resistance on and unacceptance? And do you have to have a lot of conversations with people about the lifestyle that you choose? What's your situation or story?
Well, for me, and I'll be specific about the country I'm from. I'm Nigerian. I'm first generation Nigerian. And being queer in Nigeria, it's a very serious business. It's illegal there. If you get written in the law, right? Like currently, if you get caught in any like homosexual act, you could receive 30 years in prison. That's what it's written down, legally. But in the reality of it, a lot of people, they don't make it from holding.
That is absolutely insane. Continue. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. And specifically for me, I would say I'm out, but I'm not out. I don't talk to community members about it. because, because of how people feel about it. A lot of people feel like it's something that's so dangerous and so bad, and just so against, like, a lot of people will say like homosexuality is against, like, un-African. And I would say that's across, like, most, if not all, African countries. But I would say the struggle, or not even the struggle, the struggle that I have overcame and have been overcoming is what that messaging has done to me internally. And even right now, being able to, like, start this club or talk to you about this club with the people that, I asked to come through here, I feel like years ago, I would never be able to do something like this. So I'm really just glad that through everything I could find acceptance to myself, and I will surely figure out the rest later. I will, yeah.
Well played. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Angel, let's talk about your culture and sexuality. Is your culture one that is accepting of the LGBTQ plus movement? Is it a hater? Is it not allowed to talk about it at all? What's the situation like?
So for me, I am bisexual. And I would say I am freely out and everything. The only thing, it's not really about culture because I'm Hispanic, I'm from Ecuador. People are okay if you are bisexual. It's gonna get a little noisy now, so sorry. But people are okay if you are bisexual, if you like female and male, doesn't matter which kind of the gender. The only thing under my household, it's where religion comes along. So my parents are both Christians, and with the Christians, there are Christians who do support, and there's Christians that don't support or don't understand why it's happening. With that being said, like I said, my family, my both parents are religious, so every time when I try to mention like sexualities, gender, stuff like that, I try to hint to them that, like, yes, I am, I do like both genders, or actually more than both genders, and I'm okay with that, and hopefully they're okay with it. But they never put their heads around it that I do and all of that. So it's really kind of just hard for them. They're okay with people who are out and open, but as soon as they see or hear that one of their child is, I feel like they would react in a different way. And it's kind of hard because even though they're my parents, they're supposed to love me. I mean, they do love me. Don't get me wrong, but I just wouldn't know how would they react if I fully do come out for them. But everybody else that I surround myself with, my sister, my cousins, they're okay with it. So I'm open out completely. Just my parents are in denial.
So that's interesting. You say that generally people are accepting of it in the culture, as long as it's not one of their own, as long as it's not close to them, then it becomes a challenge for them, or a hurdle for them to have to get over that.
Yeah, it goes where, like, it's like we're tradition minded. They're like, oh, where did I go wrong? Why didn't they follow this tradition in mine? Because, like, with religion being said, like, they're Christian, I'm not Christian nor Catholic, so they're also like, why aren't you Christian or Catholic? So it goes along with the, oh, did I mess up for you to do this?
Thank you. Adrielle, same to you. In your culture, is it something that's accepted, or is it a fight?
I have kind of the same story as Angel, where it's not really culturally, it's more like religiously. Like my grandmother, when she found out, I didn't even tell her, but she's seen an encounter with me and somebody else, and she decided that she was gonna read Bible verses with me and try to pray the gay away. I don't know. And my mom had to take me out of that situation and bring me back home so that I could be more comfortable. My mom is more so understanding. She wasn't at first, but as the years went by, she got more open to it. She still has her homophobic ways, like how some people, how they accept gay women instead of gay men kind of thing. So that's also another hurdle that the LGBTQ has to deal with. But the rest of my family, some of them don't know. So I'm not the openest one here. I'm more so out to my friends, not my family. So yeah, and that's because of religious reasons.
I got you. Yeah, that seems to be a popular theme, is that people are out to friends and people they know would be, accepting. But when it comes to, folks who are super judgmental, like our parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, it's definitely a different situation. I come from a Catholic background, and I've only had judgment to give back to them on this matter, because they always had some ridiculous rules about gay folks and not being able to pray and come to church and things like that. I always thought were ridiculous. And I don't mean to open up the religion art discussion to everybody, but I just want to remind everybody that there is a word of the Lord, but there is no Lord that actually wrote those words down. It was always transcribed by human beings. So, I mean, just from everything that we've learned about human beings over the years, is anytime humans get in the middle of something, it doesn't actually like come out the way it originally does. It goes however that human wanted to interpret it. So, yeah, the word of the Lord, absolutely. But the thing is, we don't actually know what any Lord or God has said, because they just always choose like one person to speak that word to or something. So we're always at the mercy of what humans transcribed from the gods, no matter what religion we're talking about, whether it's Buddha, Jesus, I can't say Muslim God on screen or we'll get in trouble, but all that good stuff. Let's separate sexuality from religion. I've been a proponent of this since day one. I don't understand why any of those are tied together. I don't understand why sexuality was tied to military judgment. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's start with you, Chi-Chi. Does it matter at all, your sexuality, when you're fighting on the front lines for this country? Does it matter?
It literally does not. And also, like, to talk about the military too, if we're talking about like more recent events, because the don't ask, don't tell rule, like that was a while ago, and it was repealed, but you know what I mean? Like, people say that it's not really existing, but it's still definitely there. But even to go as far to talk about like 2016, where trans individuals were banned from being in the military, that's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. And yeah, that really just doesn't make any sense. It was for no practical reason, in my opinion, other than to be discriminatory. And it's really sad to see it, like, because I feel like when people do try to justify their homophobia or their transphobia or just anti-queerness, like, the mental gymnastics are astounding with it. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I'm going to pose the same question a little differently to you, Angel. Here's how I'm going to phrase it. Say you're aware of one of your soldiers and they are the best sharpshooter that you got, and you're trying to track down terrorists. And then one of your other soldiers comes to tell you, oh, just so you know, your best sniper, yeah, she's transgender. Does that affect your decision to pull this person off the line of the battlefield, or no?
No, it wouldn't, because it's who you are and who you want to be. Who you are doesn't mean because you are not a male instead of a female, that shouldn't be in mind, because honestly, like, gender wise or not, somebody, like, when it comes to like gender, they always say males are better than females within strength and all that, or mindset, but that doesn't always go along with it. Everybody are equal, everybody should be equal, and I wouldn't change my mind for nothing involved in that.
I love it. Thank you. Adrielle, again, let me ask you this. You're a commanding officer. You have people out there on the front lines fighting, and killing to protect our freedom here in America. And you find out that in the barracks, okay, not on the battlefield, not during punched in time, not on the clock, you find that two of your soldiers are involved romantically together in an LGBTQ plus relationship, does this affect you, your leadership moving forward at all? If this has nothing to do at all with the battlefield and it's just in their private time, does this affect you picking them to defend us?
No, not at all. I feel as um if it was a straight couple, I wouldn't stop them. If it was a gay couple, I wouldn't stop them either. It doesn't really matter what they're doing in their free time, as long as you're ready to be on the battlefield when I call you to be on the battlefield. So what you're doing in your free time has nothing to do with me or your battlefield skills.
Thank the three of you. Everyone just proved my thought correct. So for any of you old timers watching at home, it has no bearing whatsoever about anything else that you do. Your sexuality has no bearing. It doesn't disqualify you for anything. It doesn't say that you're not eligible for anything. It's just people that make up these silly rules and amendments, constitution, all that good stuff. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get away from the political stuff. Just kidding. Let's get right back into the political stuff. I got on my notes right here. It says, don't say gay. Let's talk about this. I got a lot to say, but I think you all feel probably the way I do. So let's start. Chi, don't say gay. It's, I feel like we're setting our children back like 20 years. What are your thoughts?
And also, let's explain that really quick, because it's just like this rule in schools, specifically applying to schools. Because I had even seen like a post about this recently that a middle school teacher had given a student who was having like a lot of issues with depression, and like was opening up to this teacher about their mental health issues and the stuff that they're going through. And this teacher had recommended that they go to this youth center that was specifically like a Pride youth center. But if you're aware of like the Pride youth centers in this area, especially, like they do so many things. They do so many things. And this teacher was fired almost immediately after that happened. And I feel like we're just stifling children because of our, I'm not saying our children are being stifled because of people's, beliefs. And they don't want them to associate with anything queer related, even if it could be helpful. Because a lot of community organizers, a lot of resources could be found in places where queer people organize. Because, just the history of this community, the way that we build family and community everywhere, like it's really for everyone. This club is for everyone. Our resources is for everyone, as long as you're down, as long as you're, coming with people, you're coming to people with love, and that's it. So I think it's harmful. I feel like it's really not good for kids, because they can be missing out on so many opportunities for help, for assistance, for community. And that's it.
Thank you, Chi. Yeah, moving along to Angel. So basically, a lot of people find or start to find the beginnings of their sexuality at that very sensitive time of elementary school, K through 8. Let's call it K through 8 for now, pre-high school, right? So now we have this law or bill, or whatever you want to say, that even the people who should educate them about that at this time are not allowed to. Even if they have any questions, we can't talk about it. What are your thoughts about not educating students about this and leaving it up to parents, or waiting till later to explain it to them? Do you think that the earlier the better, or do you think that we shouldn't talk about it at all? I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Like Chi and everything, I say what I would think is I would want the children to grow up knowing how to, if anybody in a young age, you want to be transgender, if they want to be bisexual, transsexual, all of that, if they know how they could be protected if ever some like sexual intercourses or how like this and that, knowing what you could get within having within sexual intercourse and not them knowing what stuff could happen like HIVs, STDs, if they're not informed in how stuff and how you need to get tested, because obviously a lot of stuff happens within transmitted disease. But if you're not educated, then it just doesn't, it's like you telling what a female and a male what to do when they're in a sexual intercourse, not a female or male to male. Because when I was growing up, especially in high school still, there was never a topic where, if you ever do have sexual intercourse as a female to female or a male to male or just anything like that, everybody were out, like they didn't know what to do. And there were people in school who were either closeted or who were out proudly, but they were like, okay, but what if this and that? And the teacher were like, oh, I don't know. And you have to find out yourself. Like, it's just kind of, I wouldn't want somebody to come in the world where you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, right. Because students come to us for education to learn how to understand these things. And if we're going to keep, we'll push it off down the line. We'll let the next school take care of that. When they get to that next school, they're already going to be in situations where they already should know how to think, how to understand things, and they will have no idea. And sometimes when people don't know what else to do, for some reason they resort to like violence or acting out and things like that, which is kind of just really silly and easily avoidable. If we're all in coordination and the same page with this, Adrielle, what's your thoughts on kicking the word gay out of schools for young kids and not educating them about the subject?
I feel like it's highly unnecessary and it will only raise more confusion. I feel like kids should be aware, just not to like push it on them, but like everybody's like, oh, do you have a girlfriend yet? To little boys, no, do you have yeah, and do you have a girlfriend? Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. They ask little kids that all the time, but they never ask them like, oh, do you have the same sex partner? But I feel like even that's kind of weird because you're like, I don't want to say sexualizing, but you're sexualizing children and making them putting the idea in their mind when it's not there in the first place. But I feel as if people can do that, then why can't they say gay? Like you're putting straight in their head, so why can't gay be an option? And what if they do grow up to be gay? Then what? Now they're confused about their sexuality. They don't know that much about it because nobody talked about it. And now you have more confusion in the world. And I feel as if with schools not teaching it, that's why a lot of people are closeted now, because it's like, is this a bad thing? Should I hide myself? Like, it shouldn't be like that. I just feel like not saying it or not teaching it just really, it messes up a lot. And it does set us back, like you said, 20 years. I just feel as if it should be taught just so it can raise awareness, just in case.
You're 100% right. And, knowledge is power. Obviously, we're all in school right now, so we know that. But seriously, we teach kids everything to prepare them for the world. Now, the people who make the rules decide that part is not important or that part is taboo. We gotta wait. To tell them. I think it was a horribly bad idea, but I invite you all to come back in 20 years and have this show again with me, and we'll discuss how it went for everybody. Let's talk about.
Down.
Awesome. All right, I'll see you guys here in April 5th, 2042. We're gonna do a Zoom thing. That's if there is Zoom or if there's an Earth left or anything. I hope there's an Earth left. I don't know, to be honest, guys. I love you all. It's just tough. It's tough. The news is tough, We're trying. We're really trying. So let's talk some positive stuff, though. Let's talk about people that want to support the LGBTQ plus community, but are not LGBTQ plus themselves. We call them allies, right? Not everything is black and white. I'm going to give you an example. Not everything is left and right, and not everything is liberal or conservative. Here's the best example that I tell people about this is I support the Constitution. I especially support the Second Amendment. I love firearms. I've been using them since I was a kid, safely under the the supervision of adults. And I pride myself on being a good marksman. And boy, let me tell you, if you mess with anybody in my LGBTQ plus family, we're going to have a problem. See, and that's the thing where people are like, oh, well, how can you be a staunch supporter of this thing that conservatives are normally a supporter of, and then also at the same time be going against Jesus and all this stuff? And it's like, no, not everything is black and white. Sometimes there are things that are good and there are things that are bad in this world, right? So allies is an important thing for the LGBTQ plus community, because some people view the community as it being like you guys are all a bunch of pacifists who sit around talking about being peaceful and growing plants and things like that. It's like, no, you guys aren't pacifists. You just are, your sexual lifestyle is not identical to the vanilla sex lives of every single person in the country. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. That's diversity. That's colorful. That's what we need. When you go and you buy anything at the food store, do you buy like a million of one flavor, or do you buy the variety pack? You know what I'm saying? When I buy honey bunches of not honey bunch, when I buy cream of wheat, I buy the variety pack. I want different flavors. Okay, it's not. I don't always want vanilla. I don't always want just chocolate. Sometimes you gotta mix it up a little bit. So, how important are allies, Chi? And they come in all different shapes, colors, sizes, all different that kinds of stuff. What does the LGBTQ plus community look for in an ally? Are you looking for someone to stand there and look tough like me and say, I will hurt you if you mess with these people? Or you like, give me an example of what an ally can do to help support the community, help create that safe space. But please mind my jokes and voices that I make and everything like that. You know I mean well.
Well, first, I wanted to talk about what you said before about how not everything's black and white. I would even go as far to say as everything is just a different shade of gray. Like, truly and honestly, everything is just a different shade of gray, because I honestly think like my sexuality is the least interesting thing about me. It's very just a small aspect of what one person can be, and sometimes it's really significant to somebody's identity because of the experiences that you have. But as for allies, and we do have allies coming through, to whoever sees this, because a lot of people ask me this, like, you don't have to be gay to come here. Like, we just be chilling, we have snacks sometimes, we listen to music sometimes, we'll play games. You don't have to be part of the community to be a part of that. But when we do have discussions, I love when people ask questions. Ask questions, and as long as you're coming from a place of genuine curiosity and like care, and your intent isn't to hurt people or make them feel uncomfortable, like, I feel like that's the most important thing, to come and want to learn and hear about other people's experiences and really try to wrap your head around our community and try to understand people who are different from yourself. I think that's one of the most important things. And Mr. Ott, you doing this and asking us these questions, that's a great example right there.
All right, so if anybody has a talk show or internet show out there, you can be an ally. Just get some LGBTQ folks on there, ask them what's good. Thank you, Chi.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, no, I think it's just about genuinely trying to learn and understand.
Awesome. Angel, what do you think? What do you have to say for how can a student be a good ally in the LGBTQ plus community without actually being an LGBTQ themselves? What are some things that you envision as an ally when someone comes to the club and says, hey, I'm not a part of your community, but I really want to be a part of your community and support it?
So for me, one, my sister, and one also my really close friend now, they're allies. They're not part of the LGBT community. And one way that they support is by making sure I'm comfortable of me being who I am in front of everybody. So if I see something and they're like, oh cool and everything. So like for me, it's just like pretty much how I want to like feel. If as long as they support me, they understand how I am. As long as I have support, I feel like you're the best ally to me. If you ask me, oh, what is this? How does this happen and this happen? And just you trying to know what is part of the LGBT community, it's what I feel like a good ally is. Because the more you want to know, is the more that you want to know who I am, truly.
Well said and affirmative. Awesome. Adrielle, same question for you. Allies of the LGBTQ plus community. What's a good ally?
Somebody who is supportive, who does ask questions, but not in like an offensive way, of course. People who are eager to know about certain things without pushing it and like stepping over boundaries. That's a really important thing to make sure that everybody's comfortable. Out of all the straight allies that I know, they're just really supportive, and they make sure that nobody says anything disrespectful or yeah, they just all you have to do is really just be an ally. Just don't push your limits. Don't do too much.
Thank you. Just to give you guys a little story, and this ties into religion again. This is for any folks watching who think that they are bound by the religion as far as coming out to their family and friends. My cousin is gay, and she struggled so long with breaking the news to our grandmother, our super Italian grandmother. You know, we were Roman Catholic, and she struggled with it for so long because, you know, they would go to church together, and she didn't feel comfortable sharing this intimate part of her life with her because she was afraid of the judgment or the backlash or just the general disappointment that a grandmother might feel and pass on, to one of their grandchildren if they find that information out. That's how folks in the old school are. So she struggled with it literally for the rest of my grandma's life with if she should tell her or not. And she never did. And something that was very interesting was at our time, our 7-year-old cousin said to her, "Aren't you worried that she's going to find out when she gets to heaven?" And it opened up all of our minds. We're like, you're 7, number one. You shouldn't even be thinking about that. That's crazy. But number two, yeah. So for anyone who feels that they are bound by religion, if your religion has a heaven and hell in it, just remember this. When whoever you're worried about telling dies, they're going to find out anyway. So try and figure out that bridge. Try and reach out to a support system to help talk to your loved ones about this, because you should have your loved ones be your allies. That should be your biggest allies. And if they can't be, that sucks and I feel sorry. And sometimes that is the way it is. But reach out to a club like LGBTQ plus for help. Reach out to any type of clinic or committee or there's so many great ones out there that I can't name. But there's places for you on the internet to search on how to come out to your family and your loved ones. And that's a really important thing to do if possible. Obviously, there are some situations where it's just not in the cards. You're not going to be able to pull it off. But if it's religion that is keeping you hesitant and there's a heaven and hell in your religion, just remember they're going to find out eventually anyway. So that being said, let's go around the room again with our wonderful LGBTQ plus folks, y'all. Chi-Chi, what do you have to say to students watching this video either live now or on YouTube, whenever they do, and they're saying, I would really like to join this club. I've met these people now, or I've seen them in this video and they seem cool enough. I'm a little scared though. What do you say to welcome them, Chi-Chi?
I would say, first of all, we're really friendly, but a lot of people who do come now were scared to come, and like later taking that step and finally just being like, okay, I'm gonna pull up because this girl keeps bothering me and she keeps emailing me and you know what I mean? And just seeing how welcoming the environment is, how like very low pressure it is. Like if people don't want to talk about certain aspects of their identity, I'm not going to push. But yeah, like I really do think that it could help with a lot of the feelings that a lot of queer people have, because a lot of those feelings are brought about by the isolation, by the, oh, I'm the only one who thinks this and feels this. Even like our last meeting, we were talking about gender expression and gender identity. And like three, four, five people said like such similar things when they were talking about how like being brought up, this whole idea of being pushed in one direction. I feel like everybody actually said a very similar thing. And just seeing those parallels, those similarities, how a lot of us come together and we're all so different. And then, you know, realizing that we are really the same in a lot of ways. And like for people who are looking for resources, I'm trying my hardest to connect myself with people so that we can learn in a safe space and get whatever resources we need. I'm gonna plug some real quick. April 22nd, we're gonna do a sexual health discussion meeting as well as testing from the people at the Pride Center are gonna be coming here, and it's gonna be super cool. They're super friendly and they have a bunch of other resources. If you can go there, you could ask any type of questions about PrEP, about hormones. If you know, trying to start HRT, if you're trying to do all of those things, like what I'm trying to do is connect you with the people who can get that done, or at least help you start the process. So yeah,
Awesome.
please come through.
Chi says, welcome to any new and future members of LGBTQ+. Angel, do you have any welcome message for students who may be watching and say, man, that Angel is something special. I really want to join the LGBTQ+ community, but I feel really bashful and I don't know what to say.
I say, we are a family. We welcome everybody with open arms. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous the first day when I came in because I'm like, oh, what if I'm not as brave as people to speak up on how I was feeling? And it was the opposite. I felt more comfortable. I felt happy that people actually knew how I was feeling within their stories because, like Chichi said, everybody had similar stories. And I was like, oh, so that means I'm not the only one who had to go through what everybody was going through. And just connecting with each other and knowing them and just relying on them and like just knowing that's how friendship comes along, and just knowing that you have somebody you could talk to and be safe around, it's just a welcoming house, home, family that we have right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Adrielle, you have any welcome for students who are watching you right now going, man, these people are so awesome and cool. I want to join them, but I don't know if I'm as cool as them. What should I do?
I say just do it. Just come. Like just do it. Once you, as somebody that feels like anxious feelings as well, I feel as if just walk in the room, sit down, introduce yourself, and just wait to hear what everybody else has to say, and you'll feel a sense of like connectedness, comfort, even. It's just usually once you walk in the door, you'll feel at home. I feel as if the hardest part is over once you walk in. So just come, just join us, see what it's about. If you like it, then stay. If you don't, for whatever reason, then you don't have to come back. But you most likely will want to stay.
Excellently said. And I love the tagline, LGBTQ plus club, just come. I love it. That's a good one. We're keeping it. Excellent. Chi-Chi's face is good on that one. Okay. I want to thank the wonderful, awesome folks of the LGBTQ plus club at Essex County College for joining us in the virtual cafe. Ugonma, Chi, Chima, Angel Ortega, Adrielle, Worrell. Thank you, ladies, so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, Chichi, take a mic.
Great
Awesome.
minds, great minds.
Great minds.
All right, folks. We want to thank everybody from LGBTQ plus for joining us today. These are some of the coolest people I've ever met, not just at Essex County College. I'm glad that they put up with my stupid jokes and let me interview them and do all this stuff here on the internet. It is much appreciated, and I will never forget it. We hope that you and your families are doing well during this time. We hope you continue to stay safe, well, and cool now as we approach the dreaded months of summer. So we have slushies in the Dasher Center sometimes. I'm not going to ever tell anybody when or post a schedule of anything like that. You're just going to have to come to Dasher to find out. So until next time, stay safe. Take care.